Please get into your Instagram.
Yes, I'm already there.
And we are live.
Right. Set to come on Instagram though.
Yes. I think it'll take about 2 minutes for it to come on the Instagram, while YouTube happens immediately. We'll start in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll allow it
So
to
that
come live.
yeah.
Mm. It's called the Murphy's Law sometimes.
No, I think the silence is good because we are also given a bit of time to
Cool down.
cool down, be steady.
You pushed it to the live mode in the Instagram.
Yes, both Insta as well as we are live.
Yeah, taking some time to reflect. It's time to.
No, 2 minutes. 2 minutes is what it is. So I'll wait for you to give a signal to for us to
Mm.
start the conversation.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, my good question. Now you should be live on Instagram,
Okay.
and this is called a teething trouble or a starting problem. Now you're live.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, okay. Since I can see that we are live, I have typed out a comment as well. No, not yet, Sheshadri.
Oh, now we are live. I'll keep it up for comments. Okay, we are live now.
Woohoo! Woohoo! And we are live.
Yes.
So, welcome everyone to the series on decluttering. This set of conversations, as such, is called Psychology Bytes. You want to call it BITES, BYTES, it's your choice, but I think I'm going to call it BYTES. Why? Because it's small snippets of info, small bites of info which is going to come to you. And under this umbrella, we are launching the series called Decluttering series, which we intend to have 4 episodes. And today's episode is specifically targeted on physical decluttering. What next? We will see as the conversation goes by. What are the other episodes focused on? Okay, so why decluttering? Sheshadri, why do you think we have opted for this topic is something we'll discuss, but let's say a little bit of ourselves. I mean, let's say what we stand for. Who are we? Midhu, based in Bangalore, and someone who's got deep interest in psychology, specifically in end stage life care and palliative care. That is a topic that I really like. And what happens after that? People who are survivors, they need to move on, move forward with their lives, and they need to rebuild their lives, keeping the new normal as a baseline. So, as a part of it, you also need to declutter. Now, that is a very broad explanation, and we'll uncover this as the series goes along. So, when you declutter your life, you're allowing the space for new experiences to come in. But we are talking about physical decluttering and why. We'll see that. So, over to you, Sheshadri. Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Midhu. Good evening, everyone, and happy to be part of this series on decluttering, which is a very important topic. Decluttering might seem a common word, but as we unpack these terms here in this and the next few episodes, I think you'll appreciate the amount of things that go into the whole aspect of decluttering itself. To start off, my name is Sheshadri. I call myself as a psychology enthusiast. So I met Midhu during one of or many of our discussions on psychology itself, and we found we have some common interests in how we can learn, gain more knowledge, and spread this knowledge around. So we have been doing this for some time now, and this series is part of our very specialized effort on concentrating on this whole decluttering aspect of it. So I'm happy to be part of it, and as we start off, I let me do to bring the opening comments, and then we can go from there. So it'll be a conversation, and be happy to listen to you guys. You can chat or you can comment out in the chat boxes, and we will be happy to answer any questions as we talk through this. Over to you, Midhu.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sheshadri. So we have some more people joining in. Let's quickly have a look at who has joined in. We've got Jakriti, we've got Desi, we've got Adi, Pariniti, Ashwini. Thank you so much. You being here today makes a world of difference to us. Thank you so much for uh, appreciating the efforts that we're making towards this series on psychology and decluttering. That's what we are talking about. We are talking about physical decluttering today. And in the weeks to come, we would definitely be talking other kinds of decluttering. What's the second part going to be? Please stay till the end of this episode to know what the second part is going to be about. So today we talk about physical decluttering. Sheshadri, what does clutter mean to you? And when does something, we buy things, uh, we sometimes save a lot to buy things. It's on our to do list. And then after some time, you call it clutter. So when does something so useful become clutter? I mean, are we using the word wrongly? Tell us your views.
Very good. Actually, you put it very right. Actually, when does something you use sometime earlier just becomes clutter or a flashpoint or time, right? So let's begin with a saying I have been using for a long time now. If you think of a cluttered desk, to say, is this a cluttered person if he has a cluttered desk? The same can be said of an empty desk, right? Then an empty desk, is it of an empty mind person? No, it's not that. So the literal meaning of clutter might mean a lot of things arranged shabbily or disorganized. But sometimes, as you very rightly said, we procure things, we get things for a variety of reasons, which may have given us some value at some point in that time where we acquired it. But over a period of time, time is a big, great leveler, right? Some things might become not so useful, or take some examples as we speak further. We'll take some examples. So, the apt definition of clutter, according to me, is when something does not become useful or remain useful to you any more than when you actually acquired it. This can apply to a variety of things. And as Midhu earlier pointed out, cluttering is not just about physical cluttering. There are a lot of other aspects of cluttering which we will cover during this and the next series. But let's just understand, clutter doesn't mean it's a bad thing or a wrong thing to have. But what point in time is when you are referring to an object sitting on this side of the clutter or this side of the clutter is what we'll try to unpack as we talk, right? So Midhu, to just give my perspective on this, clutter essentially tells you it is not useful to you, or it is not really adding any more value into your life. It may have added previously, but not anymore. At that point of time is when an object, what you have, becomes a clutter physically.
Hmm. I remember learning in economics law about saturation. After a point, a very useful thing becomes not so useful and it stops delivering value, and in fact, it goes in the opposite direction. What you just said made me think of that immediately. I'm just wondering, can we talk about an example where something becomes no longer useful? Would you have any example to share with us?
Yeah. So the most common example, I think many of us have, we buy a lot of things. Books, for example, we hoard a lot of books. But is hoarding a bad thing? No, not necessarily. But sometimes there's a lot of value we associate to things we buy, right? So, and we buy it for a reason, but over a period of time. So the time is the important aspect here. So when thing defines itself to become a clutter, right? So you buy two books this month, two more next month. At the end of the 12th month, at the same rate, you'll have 24, 25 books. And if you've done that for the past 3, 4 years, you will have at least 100 books. Now, which of those books you actually read, which of the book actually has some reading time on it, will tell what it actually means to you, right? Sometimes you can't really, as human beings, read all books, all the 100 books, you can't be reading every day, right? So at some point we'll have to get to a state where now this set of things is what I need with me every day or every next day. And this other part of it, maybe it's 10% or 20% of these 100 books, they don't become so useful because you're past a time where you don't need to refer back to it or look back into it. And more importantly, you may not really have endless space with you, right? So the example of if you have a bookshelf and it is designed to a certain dimension, can only take so many books. But if you keep adding books because you like books, at some point the shelf becomes overloaded, and that creates a problem. And that's where the books become a clutter. Though books are source of knowledge, but at some point it doesn't really allow you to store and manage them like you used to earlier. So that's one example from a daily life I can think of for the
Yeah,
clutter.
yeah. Very relatable one, right? Talk about books. I think I've got a room which I call the hobby room, in which there is a section which is dedicated to books, library, and it's an on the wall shelf. I mean, that itself is a piece of decor, but I did not buy those books because they were pieces of decor. Over a period of time, I started collecting books, and the intention was to read. But then,
Mhm.
many of those books, I would say majority of those books, are waiting to be read. And one thing I thought to myself this year is I put a number to it, like
Okay.
30 books. They're overflowing, they're not looking like a piece of decor anymore. I have stacked it this way, this way, this way, that way, so it's not looking very uniform. And whenever I get into this room, I don't even feel like taking a picture, of the bookshelf, which used to be a matter of pride earlier, because it technically it's all neatly stacked, but the way it's stacked, it's not giving me peace of mind, in the sense that it's just not a matter of pride anymore. So I thought I'm going to give away about 30 books. Even if I give away 15, it's fine, but read and give away. Or by the end of the year, if I'm not able to read those 30 books, it's okay, give it away, because I've not read them for, I might have bought them 5 years ago and I've still read them. Chance of me reading that is very less, because when you buy something, you are more, your chance of using it are much higher. So
Yeah.
for me, decluttering is about bringing that peace of mind, bringing that focus. So I've got 200, I'm just taking a number, if I've got 200 books, and out of which 30, which I just mentioned, are not going to be read, then I would rather focus on the 170. So I would want to bring that focus on really what matters, on the lines of what you said. It probably, after a period of time, it has stopped adding value to my life, my knowledge base, etc. uh, so
But an important point, I think you actually got very well on that, right? There is a psychology aspect to it. So I just want to bring that stuff as well. So when you look at a cluttered desk, right? What comes to your mind suddenly? Do you get frustrated? Oh my God, why is this so not organized, kind of thing, right? So that's one aspect of a stress inducer or a stressor that can really bring us down. So it creates a problem for us. That's exactly when we should start looking at what options do we have to get out of that stress state. And in our personality theories in psychology, right, there's one specific thing what I like most. There is a big five theory which is used to define or describe how a personality actually builds up. And one of the aspects of the big five character traits is consign, or it's a very complicated word, conscientious, I think. So
conscious conscientiousness, oh my god, it's a big word. Okay, what does it mean, Sheshadri?
it just means a trait where people can become organized, disciplined in the way they do things. So you may call it different. You may call it, okay, so will that cause a problem if I happen to keep everything everywhere in the same place always? Is it related to an obsession, or it's a compulsion or something? No, it's not that. So that trait actually measures how well you can discipline yourself and regulate yourself. So just trying to bring in a psychology angle to this. It's not just about, I bought a lot of books, I don't know what to do with them, and it's cluttered, it's causing a problem, physical space problem, but it's more to do with how we have kind of have an opportunity to change ourselves. But Midhu, I want to ask you, have you done something? You brought this example of your own library and the overflowing books, right? How did you look at getting out of the clutter scenario? Did you plan? Did you do something to get out of the clutter and declutter the space, the library space?
Not just a library. I have this ritual which has been going on for about a decade, which starts on July 1st, dot on July 1st, and it ends
So
by
it started
December
this year
7th.
already.
Yes. It starts by mid-year. So the first 6 months are for hoarding things, and the next 6 months are for decluttering. That is the way it goes. No, but jokes aside, I also declutter what has been accumulating over the years. So the
Mhm.
reason why I started on July 1st is simply because by the time it's December 1, I put up my stuff for Christmas, and the decor comes in. So then there is a lot of see, decluttered doesn't mean that they are all over
Clean
the
and
place. No, it doesn't mean that. My library, there's a place for it, and every book has got a place, and every book is in its place all the time, But maybe I can stack a nice candle there. No, but there's no space for the candle or Christmas decor on the in the libraries, on the shelf, on the wall library, um, which if I can add a decor, it'll be much more prettier than what it is right now. So, but coming back to your question, so not just the library, I also look at another area where a lot of accumulation happens is Almara. There are
Mhm.
sales all through Myntra, Misho, Nika, whatnot. So again, I look at things which I have not worn. Earlier, I used to have this habit of this dress is good. When I lose 10 kgs, I'll get into it and I'll wear it. So over a period of time, I buy it, I spend money buying it, and then I throw it away. And I say throw it away, I give it to somebody who can probably use it. It'll most probably be unused because I couldn't fit into it in the first place. And then I've still purchased it. So when I understood that it's pinching my pocket in a way, um, it's always good to give it to people who are using it, but in the first place you also need to conserve money a little bit, use it for things which you want, you need to
Mhm.
prioritize. So since I've not done that, I've spent money out of my pocket, and then finally I choose to uh, dispose it off, declutter. Over a period of time, that is stopped. I don't buy dresses that don't fit me. If it fits me today, I buy. If not, I don't buy. So when I'm in this decluttering mode, maybe the first 6 months, I'm based in Bangalore, so maybe the weather is a little different. It gets a little colder, July to December. So one thing that I do while decluttering is things which I may not use in the first 6 months. The kind of the fabric which is used, etc., might be very different from the second part of the year. So I neatly fold it and put in the loft. So again, my focus is on those things which I need to wear, on those dresses I need to wear. And as time goes by the time it's July, August, September, October, I know whether I'm going to use certain dresses, certain saris, certain garments. And if I'm not going to be using it, by the time it's December, I know I haven't used it, not just this year, last year, and the year before last. I give it some time and then I give it away. So, this is the ritual that runs on every aspect. This year, I've also decided to include my, I think it should be 15 years old. There's an app crunch sitting here. App crunch is used for uh, hanging clothes for the next day, but never used as a nap crunch. Yeah. And it's been like that for years. So I've decided if I'm not going to be using it till December 1st, at least 2, 3 times a week, I'm going to give it away. So just my strategy for this year.
But very good, actually. I could relate to what you told to three important aspects, right? One is we buy something, and we get into the guilt of holding back into it because we have already bought it, right? So that's one aspect of declutter. I think you brought it out very nicely. So I go out, I buy something because I liked it that day, but I don't know what to do with it after some time. The air cruncher, for example. But now, since I have paid for it, the guilt holds me back, right? When you really give it out, the aspect of the philosophical aspect, right? The philosophical aspect of letting go, giving away things. I think the happiness that gives, I think it's enormous. So one good effect of decluttering and giving away to someone who has value to this, it is valuable to someone else, right? So, and that whole act of giving away and letting go actually makes us better people. But preceding that is the awareness to declutter. The awareness to declutter is what I think we should start building. So, good examples. And one more thing you said, actually, I caught on the hope part of it, right? So, hope to do something. That's actually, you can also fit in the motivation part. I like this dress. I want to make myself fit into this dress. Sometimes can become motivation, and it will avoid you to say give it away, throw it away, whatever, right? So now there is a fine balance between, do I throw away everything? So you have a cluttered desk, so you just put everything in a box and make the desk a clean desk. Will it help? No, it is not, right? So the way I think we should look at it is, what is the balance between what I should retain, which continues to give me value, and what I should give away and kind of become sustainable in that sense also, right? So you don't use it, give it to someone who uses it. You become sustainable that way, and also you feel de-stressed. You don't have to look at a cluttered desk anymore. So the amount of stress you feel when you daily get up and look at a cluttered desk is enormous. So how we get out of it? There's several ways. I think you covered 2 3 aspects. So I'm looking at these are some strategies which people could practice. But then the most important point you brought out is the cultural aspect of it. I think we should thank our forefathers and our previous generations. Like they have inculcated in us the culture of spring cleaning, cleaning before a festival, whatever. All these are things that help us to declutter ourselves. But I think making it a ritual and then we can practice is perhaps one of the best strategies going forward to declutter.
You mentioned letting go.
Yes,
That is a very deep thought
powerful.
by itself. Letting go, I mean, it's not just about letting a physical item just go. I mean, it's much beyond that. Letting go, freeing yourself of things which are no longer useful, right? And that could be anything. And I'm sure we plan to cover this in our episodes going forward. It could be anything, right? I have very consciously tried to overcome this challenge wherein I couldn't let go of uh, objects, of belongings of people who have passed on. For
Yeah, yeah.
me, it's like respect, love for them, and just looking at it, memories come back, and just holding on to it. It gives me a lot of peace and hope. But also, when you're talking about it, it's about creating space for experiences, creating space for new books, creating space for new exercise equipments, maybe. But then this is a little more deep and stressful a topic if you really look at it. Letting
Yeah.
go of belongings of people who have passed on. You won't believe, I've actually prepared sandals, and I've spent a lot of money going in search for people who can repair those sandals, and I use them in real life. Uh,
Mhm.
it's difficult to let go. So it's a very deep concept that you brought in.
Yeah. So the reason I bought it is this. So though we started off this episode on the physical decluttering, I just wanted to highlight it's not just the object, it's not the geometry that we are trying to let go. Sometimes the objects get attached with what we call as emotions, feelings, sentiments. So the one you mentioned, it's a family heirloom or something that was used by someone whom you cared for, loved for. You just can't throw away because it's just occupying some space. Now that we will cover in the further episode, but I'm wanting to ask our audience, what do they feel about this? Is cluttering just about physically removing things from its place, or is it trying to get it organized in a way that you don't get stressed because you're not using it, but then there are sentiments and emotions attached to it, and you want to put it in a place where it still continues to give you the value it is provided. So that's something I want to reserve for our next episode, because it's a bigger topic by itself. It's connected to the letting go, the spirituality of it, the philosophy of it, and then the emotional attachments of it. But that's a very good point, Midhu.
And you had a question for the audience. Could you kindly repeat that so that they are able to, answer? And there are also some comments on from people who have just joined. And let me just call out the names as well as we do that. So, Dolly, hi. Chandwani, hi. Rishikesh, hi. Afshan, Nev. So, Rishikesh is asking, what's the context? So, we are talking about physical decluttering here. This is a series on decluttering. Today, we are talking about physical decluttering. That is where we are. And over to you, Sheshadri. Could you kindly ask the question once again to the audience?
Yeah, my question is more like an ask, right? It's not like I want to ask you a question, I get an answer out of you now, but it's an ask. So, how do you look at decluttering? Is it just the physical aspect of removing something from its current place so that you can make space for it, or is it bigger than that? How do you let go of something you have held on to so long for whatever reason, right? There might be multiple reasons. We talked about guilt. We talked about I have paid for it. We talked about it's been there forever, didn't know, didn't notice. And I, quite frankly, sometimes we forget about what we have bought some 5 years ago, right? So I just want to ask our audience how they feel uh, about the object and the whole aspect of decluttering itself, right? And as we mentioned earlier, decluttering is not just about physical cleansing. There are 4 or 5 different areas what we look at. So I want to ask them to share their thoughts and share their opinions and what they've heard so far from me and Midhu conversing on this subject, and what do they feel about the whole concept of physical decluttering, or specific or generically on the cluttering itself. That was my ask.
Thank you. We would look forward to audience comments and their perspectives. While we do that, we'll also keep the conversation going. You just mentioned about we forgetting what we bought 5 years ago. This really happened to me just about last week. There were
Mm,
many platforms running a sale, and I thought something was very decently priced. And then that item, I looked at it 3, 4 times, and I was like, I've seen this somewhere. Then I'm like, okay, let me just put it in the cart and then not buy right now. And then I went hunting at different. There are places where I keep. I'm a fan of home decor. Okay, so and I have to periodically change it. I'll use it for a while, and maybe I'll buy home decor which I might use like after 2 years. But I keep collecting, and
mm.
that is with the intention of collecting. Okay, and
Intention.
this is
Yeah.
not like maybe we need to differentiate with things which we do with an intention and things which accumulate. So this is done with intention. When I see something good, let's say I travel somewhere, I keep them. So this one was looking very familiar. Thank God I put in the cart. Okay, I already had a version. I already had purchased it like about a year or two ago, and it's just one of the many things which is there, and I kind of forgot about it. And thank God I didn't buy. So this is a very real thing that you just spoke about. We just forget, and we would wonder maybe somebody else who I know has it, but it doesn't strike us that I have it.
And that's why it is important to kind of ritualize the whole aspect of decluttering, right? Make it a ritual so that you don't end up into a scenario of cluttering in the first place. So that's the left side of the process itself, right? If you make it a ritual of, say, once in 3 months, I do a kind of an audit and find out what I bought some months
Yeah.
ago, which have not even been unwrapped. Right? So I think that is where will be our first step to see, because we are presenting something that is very common. We know of everyone we know has this cluttering problem somewhere. So what we are trying to see here is the problem is real, the people are real, but what is something we could do consciously to slightly move away from the cluttering part and move away to the
Sure.
decluttering side of things, and that in a long way helps us as beings to live better, live joyfully, live happily, and like moving one stressor out of our life. There are many, but we'll try to do this one is what I was thinking. So
And do
ritual.
this whole process of decluttering itself mindfully, and like you said, I love the usage of the word joyfully, right?
Yeah.
Joyfully declutter. Maybe let that version. Sometimes we hold on to things because it is something that I used in my teenage, and I would like to just keep it. And that's We are not the same person that we were in our teenage. We have evolved over time, but you want to preserve that version. That item is no longer important, but you're just holding on to it.
Yeah.
There are different kinds of decluttering. So I want to ask you, uh, tell me, what are the signs that tell you it's time to declutter?
Yeah. So just take this example of, like, most people have toolboxes at their home, right? I have mine. I have so many types of toolboxes. Each of them have similar equipment always, right? Because there is this new brand of a cordless screwdriver. I wanted it. I have one corded already, and this new one has a fan and a light in it. So I have now three. All the three do the same thing actually. The purpose, the fit, function, form, everything is the same. It's just a different version of it. Now, when we do our ritualistic decluttering, it's easy to look at these things straight out and say, these two are not really what I'm using. And this is the first sign for me to say, this is not adding any value anymore to me. This is in the box of declutter. Similarly to the example you took, right? So we bought something some time ago, it doesn't fit us anymore for a variety of reasons, geometric reasons, physical, whatever, right? But then that is a sign we should move it to the declutter box. And similarly, you can look at, do we even know that it was there? If you have not seen it for 2 years, that means you don't actually need it. So that goes straight into the declutter box. Few signs, but all of us have different ways of aligning, organizing, and disciplining our clutter. So some of these are examples, but I think people can come up with their own creative ways of finding out which is a clutter and which is not.
Why don't we ask our audience? Please tell us
Yeah.
some points which we have not covered. This is not an exhaustive list of signs for you to declutter.
Hmm.
If you can also tell us some of these
Some
pointers, please.
strategies you have adapted.
Some strategies that you adapted, and tell us, what are the signs? It's time for me to declutter. What tells you that? And Sheshadri, while we do that, let's also read some comments, right? So
Sure.
Jagrati says, as I'm optimistic person, I always see decluttering as a way of more organizing, which can be either tangible or intangible in terms of feeling things. Thank you, Jagrati. It might give you better and clear perspective to think or look towards your vision with less distraction. Um, so Jagrati is saying, is it possible to add it so that I might keep my view in a more detailed way? Jagrati, these episodes will feature more people as time goes by. So the next episode, I think we can talk about it for like 10 seconds, isn't it, Sheshadri? So the next episode is going to be about digital decluttering. And that also addresses Rishikesh's point. So he was asking a question for all of us. What is one thing that you need to let go, physical, mental,
Hmm.
emotional, to make room for the person that you want to become? So yes, Rishi, we will be talking about it in the upcoming episodes. And Jagrati, to your point, let's connect. Let's connect after the session and see whether you can be a guest on this episode. But that will not be about physical decluttering. That could be another one, another topic altogether. Could be something in the decluttering series, but not physical. And thanks everyone for your comments. And so we were leaving you with, as we continue our conversation, we are going to leave you with one question for which we are going to ask your response. What are some signs of decluttering for you? It's time to declutter. What tells you that? By looking at something, by feeling something, you might feel, hey, it's time to declutter. So tell us some signs. Sheshadri shared a few. I think I'm going to share one.
Mhm.
The app Crunch, for example, it wasn't a very expensive. So when I bought it, it might have been expensive, but right now it's more like I know that I have to get in shape, and I know that it's an absolutely useful item, just that I'm not using it. Therefore, I keep it. Sometimes when things are very expensive and they are not adding value to your life, you still keep it. Oh, I paid so much for it, therefore I have to keep it. Uh, has that happened to you? Expensive items you keep because you can't let go. You spend that much money.
Yeah, it happens to most of us. I think so. There's this cooler lying right left of me, right? We have never used the cooler though. It's lying there. You don't know what to do with it now. Yeah, but I think more than the physical part, right? I would also ask our audience, and in fact, me and Midhu were talking about it even yesterday. So the larger aspect of decluttering itself is what we want to explore in this series. Physical is the first start of it because it's something you can sense, you can see, you can perceive. But then, what makes that clutter seem a clutter to you? What are those signs that tell you, oh my God, this is clutter? So that will kind of help us acknowledge, become aware, and be conscious and intentional in decluttering, which is the kind of objective of what we are trying to do here. How do we help ourselves declutter? How do we make ourselves better in terms of organizing ourselves and decluttering so that we'll become more happy? One of the ways to become happy is also this, is what we have realized through our journeys and our learnings. So we wanted to share with all of you this first episode on physical decluttering.
So it's about being intentional about what to keep, what not to keep, and some of the checks that you might run. And we have shared a few practical examples as well today from our own lives. Um, One thing that you just mentioned right now, you use the word intentional, right? So I was also, I forget the exact, yeah, the home decor thing, right? Very
Hmm.
intentionally I purchase and keep it there because I got it at a nice price. But that is intentional. But I can also give you another example. Right now, I'm at my dining area. This is, and I have a separate study room and a study area. That is where all of this needs to happen. But somehow, for some reason, this is the area that I like to sit and study or do my work. And obviously at every mealtime this has to be decluttered, and then the clutter comes back in. So while preparing for the series I thought, let's start with, we need a model. So so I cleaned out two areas. One was my study desk and one was
Mhm.
this. I'm using this, but at the end of every usage I make sure the surfaces are clean. Okay, that is also intentional, but the surfaces are not clean and I clean it only during meal times. Then that is unintentional clutter. Nobody is using it, but then it's still there. So that is an example of intentional versus unintentional. Intentionally, you buy things which are priced well, and unintentionally, things keep piling on. For example, your dining table till the next meal. So keep the surfaces clean unless you are actually using them. And also keeping a check on time. What are some of the areas, what is a suggestion that we have towards say I do spring cleaning, but I also clean at regular intervals. Maybe can we talk about that?
One thing, Midhu, before I think we get to
Sure,
that,
sure.
one important aspect. So you did this ritual today itself, right? Before we set up this session. What did you feel after you did the declutter? What feelings did you get out of it? I just want all people in this call to understand what it means to declutter. So what feelings went through you when you decluttered and made that space like how you wanted it to be? What feelings did you feel?
Yeah. So I did this about a week ago, and one thing that Sheshadri and everybody who's there in this call who know me from real life know that I love clicking pictures. I definitely clicked a before pic and an after pic. Okay. So the act of decluttering itself was a little strenuous because there were
Mhm.
items which are not at all being used. My study desk had items which I probably would use once a year, but it was there. It was finding a place there. So the not so often used items went to the loft. I can pick it up when I want to use it, which is once a year. For example, the Christmas decor is used once a year. I actually label them and keep it on the loft. I say this box has got what number of items in this box, and I write all of that and I keep it. There was some other item there which I probably don't want to name. So that again is used like once or twice a year. So I kept it in the loft. Lot of strenuous physical activity, but at the end of it, I was so glad that I've got two usable spaces for my study, and the before and the after pic, which
Mhm.
I think Instagram allows you to post pictures as comments, is what I've heard. So that gives me a sense of joy, a sense of accomplishment, peace. I just liked. I mean, even if I didn't want to use it to study per se, I was just going, sitting there, and taking some snaps, and generally feeling very happy about it.
Yes. The sense
Simple
of
thing.
accomplishment makes your life, the day itself, much better, right? So
Yeah.
that's something we wanted to share also in this group. So this whole aspect is about making our lives better, or small things here and there which will make ourselves happy out ourselves, because we will start with ourselves and then we'll spread it to everyone else. Good. So no other comments here.
No, we have a question for you, which is about how can we encourage our viewers to do this as something which they don't do as a spring cleaning routine, but make it more intentional as a part of their lives. But before that, Sheshadri, I'm quickly looking at the comments. So Rishi says energy is the best indicator that it's time to declutter. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ranjana, for joining. And yes, back to you. How can we encourage our audience, our viewers, to do this on a more consistent basis? We've got too many things to do, and decluttering, as such, like I just said, it was a very strenuous activity for me because I hadn't done that in like 6 months, and then there were too many things accumulating. So maybe can we do it a little more frequently? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I had a friend who always used to tell me, I'm actually making a plan to make a plan to do something.
Oh.
It's all about planning, right? So I think what I do is this: I have a plan. I have certain things I do at certain times in a week, so that
Hmm.
it doesn't accumulate over and over. So, say once a week, we clean this area of the home, this room in the home. So, make it a habit. And as I said earlier, make it a ritual. Sometimes rituals help us because they are reminders. And you need not wait for spring cleaning and spring to come. The ritual can become more frequent than the spring cleaning. So that way, your spring cleaning also becomes less strenuous. So one thing I can share is the plan to actually make it a ritual and execute that ritual over and over makes it part of you, and that develops in you what we call as a character strength. So that strength will drive, and this will become something that is always with you and which will help you in the longer run, not just for the physical part, I think for the other aspects of cluttering as well.
Hmm. Hmm. They say how you do one thing is how you do everything. So you are
Everything
asking people to be consistent. Um,
consistent.
in our day and age, we plan everything using a calendar, right? Maybe put up some 20 minutes time every week
Exactly.
at a particular time. So, Friday nights are not a good example, but anyway, I'll take the example Friday night because let's say, because that's getting into the weekend, maybe feel that sense of accomplishment after a tired session. I mean, decluttering is tiring. Let's accept that, depending on how cluttered your area is, your living spaces. But yes, declutter for 20-30 minutes. Please don't overdo it also. If you don't want, if you enjoy it, yeah, please do it by all means. But otherwise, actually start a timer, and then 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then stop it. And then
Take a before and after picture. I think it's a powerful message.
yes, for people who like pictures, definitely that's a good thing to do. Or maybe another method is to clean a particular portion, not an entire almara, but maybe a particular a rack in the almara. So, what we look at our groceries once a week, or maybe usually once a week, right? And we look at what vegetables to buy, what supplies I needed. Similarly, decluttering, it's a good goal to have, to make decluttering a part of your weekly schedule or daily schedule. I don't know if you can do it daily. It's an awesome thing. Okay. Looking for any comments from our viewers. No, we don't have any comments. So, any parting thoughts, Sheshadri, on this topic?
So first of all, I want to thank you, Midhu, for setting this up, and also I want to thank the people who have joined this conversation. It's a very important conversation. It's very close to us in terms of how we do our daily routines. So as we go ahead on this episode and next episodes, right, I want us to kind of look at this in a perspective, because clutter, as I said at the head of this call or this episode, clutter means different to different people and the perspective varies. So I want us to all rethink. It's going to help us a lot, is what we have found, and that's how we have started this series about. So relook at what you have been doing, make a plan, make a ritual, and I think that's a good first step to the whole process of decluttering itself, is what I want to say in summary.
Thank you, Sheshadri. So today we explored what is digital, physical decluttering.
Declutter.
Digital slipped out of my mouth because that's the next episode, you guys. And then we've got something else, and then we've got something else. So each episode has got a different aspect covered. So what is physical decluttering, and what does it really mean when you say clutter? Your clutter is not my clutter, but then perspectives, right? And so when do you decide something is clutter for you because you're going to clean up your space? And how can you keep cleaning it up? Maybe it's a routine that you do spring cleaning once in a while. And for us, it's associated with certain festivals, it's a cultural aspect also. Or maybe you want to do it more regularly. And in all of this, we are talking about a very deep spiritual or a philosophical aspect of letting go of things which don't really matter. Now, here today, we talked about physical things, but there is lot more that we want to explore in the coming weeks because with physical, with digital, with the rest of the aspects as well, which we'll name, we will name the other aspects as time goes by. In every episode, we'll introduce the next episode. This will help you let go of things which are no longer helpful and then help you to rebuild your life from where it is right now, right? So that's the philosophy with which we started the series, decluttering series. And thank you so much for encouraging us, supporting us, for joining, for participating. And some of you have indicated interest to be a part of this conversation. Please do ping separately and we'll work this out. With that, wishing you a very happy, peaceful, calm,
Joyful
weekend,
weekend.
joyful weekend. And
Joy
thank you,
is
Shesha.
important. Take care, everyone. Take care.
Okay,
Good night.
everyone. God bless. Bye.
Good night.